This is Jay Anderson from Cage Side Press, and I am talking today to Kaytlin Neil. She will be fighting at Invicta FC 28 later this month, March 24th, Salt Lake City, Utah, against Tracy Cortese. Kaytlin, thanks again so much for doing it.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And first off, I wanted to ask because I know you had a knee injury that you were, coping with. So how is the knee?
It's actually been really awesome. I took some time off between my last fight, and I got a procedure done to help heal it, and it hasn't really given me any problems since, so it's ready to go.
Now, knee injuries are a bit of a theme for me right now. I took one of my own a while ago, and I was just talking to Mike Rodriguez, who shattered his kneecap on the Contender Series. I think the procedure you mentioned was PRP?
Yep, that's it.
All right, so how did that turn out for you? Did you really notice a difference from it?
Yeah, my knee's a lot more stable than it was. For my past my past three fight camps, it actually popped out probably anywhere from like 6 to 8 times, and it hasn't given me a problem this fight camp at all, so it's been awesome. And then I also got PRP done on my shoulder almost 3 years ago, and it hasn't given me a problem either there, so.
All right, well, fantastic to hear. You know what? Maybe I need to look into it a little more for myself then, because I had it recommended to me by a therapist, and my surgeon put the nix on it. So maybe I got to give it a second chance from the sounds of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would recommend it. It's a lot less invasive than surgery. That's why I did it. I didn't want surgery. I was avoiding it at all costs, so I might as well just give it a shot. And so, works for me. Might work for you.
All right. Now, getting on to the fight business, we'll go back to September, the Brooke Mayo fight in Bellator. It really felt like, and I think you've said as much, that you were basically brought in to lose. Brooke Mayo was getting pushed pretty hard. What was that situation like from your perspective? Did that motivate you a little bit more to spoil their plans?
To be honest, I was completely oblivious to it until after the fight, and then it all kind of like hit me, and I realized I was like, oh, I was brought in to lose. Oh well. I didn't really think about it. It didn't bother me. I was fine with. I was just Bellator instead of like a little local promotion. It was fun to try a big stage for once. So I thought that they had me, and I was kind of just oblivious to the whole thing.
Well, that might have worked out for the best because you didn't have the distraction that you might have. And I know you were on a one-fight deal with them, but it seemed like after that win, whether you were brought in to lose or not, you got the win. It was a unanimous decision, and it got a fair bit of attention. So was there any particular reason that you didn't wind up back with Bellator? Did they say anything to you, or you just couldn't come to a deal? What was the situation there?
All that they said to me was that they want me to even out my record before I go back, which I feel like is reasonable for Bellator. But yeah, I just think it's their loss that they kind of let me go.
Their loss and Invicta's gain, since you're moving on to Invicta now. And obviously, they have a close relationship with the UFC. They are on Fight Pass. We've seen a ton of female fighters go from Invicta to the UFC. Is that the end game for you, or is that putting the cart before the horse?
Yeah, that is the end game for me. I want to fight in the UFC. That's one of my goals, and I was actually kind of happy. It was kind of like a bittersweet moment that Bellator didn't want me back. I was happy because I could potentially go into like Invicta or a more UFC geared route, but I was also kind of sad because they didn't want me. But so it was kind of half and half bittersweet. But yeah, UFC is the ultimate goal.
Now, after that Mayo fight, did you see any change in terms of your profile? Because it certainly seemed from a media perspective that fight in particular got a lot of attention. We saw, traffic go up and all social media go up and all those indicators that we use to judge what's popular. Did you notice a change? Did you see more followers, more people talking about you?
Yeah, after that fight, I think the week of the fight, I think I gained like 5,000 followers on Instagram, so that was pretty cool. And then my pictures were getting way more likes than they normally did. So it brought a lot more attention than that, a lot more social media traffic.
And it's kind of crazy how big social media has become in MMA. Like, you have a huge whack of followers and you're more likely to get a better deal almost with some of the promotions. So no doubt that's a bonus.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Now, you're going into Invicta 28, making your promotional debut. Tracy Cortese, there's not a lot of tape on her. She's 1-1, I believe. But she did have a bout in Invicta last year, so there is a little bit of tape around. Have you had a chance to see much of her, and what are you anticipating from her in the fight?
Yeah, I've looked at her film. Her one loss is one of my losses too, so we lost to the same girl. And so I watched that fight a lot, and she just seems super aggressive. So I'm working on having an aggressive opponent coming at me, constantly coming, and she's also a pretty good wrestler, so I've been working wrestling a lot, wrestling defense, and just trying to be prepared for anything that comes, though.
Are you a game planner, or do you prefer to go with the flow?
I prefer to just go with the flow. Like, I work on a few things, and I'll kind of try to look for them in the fight, but mainly I just go with the flow. I think I'm more of like, if I had a game plan and it wasn't going to game plan, I'd freak out, so I just choose not to have one.
All right, well, that's fair enough. And I mean, the one good thing about not having a game plan is that, you're right. If it goes sideways, you're not panicking and you're not kind of lost as to what to do. You're used to having to adapt, and adaptability is probably a good quality for a fighter to have, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen in a fight, so it's always good to just be able to do it all,
Now, you haven't fought in Utah since, I believe, 2016, so are you excited to be fighting at home again?
Oh, yeah. I love fighting at Utah. It's a big crowd. Everybody cheers. It's fun. And I know a lot of people there are rooting for me, so it's always a good time at home.
And it's a rarity. I mean, it looks like Invicta's going on the road a little more this year, but they haven't a lot to date, so that's a pretty awesome coincidence.
Oh, yeah. I think it was just meant to be that I meant to fight on there.
Well, hopefully it was meant to be. And, the other thing, Invicta, I just want to ask you, because they seem like a really close-knit family. I got a chance to go down to Kansas City for the show in December. And they're definitely a tight-knit group, and, kind of everybody knows everyone there. What has the experience with them been like so far?
I haven't had much contact with them. I just had my manager talk to them, but so far I've just gotten stuff like contracts and whatnot emailed to me. But that's pretty much all the contact I've really had as of right now. I haven't met anybody other than that.
Okay. Now, is it like a 4-fight deal? What's the background on the contract?
The contract's just a 1-fight deal, and if they choose to bring me back, then there's a possibility.
Okay, well, hopefully all goes well, and you're in there a little more, because they're an awesome organization to watch. But I want to switch from that a little and just go into a little bit of background on you, because I'm curious, what got you into fighting originally?
So I grew up doing dance and gymnastics. I had no clue what fighting was. I was really competitive, and I went to go try out for the college cheer team, and I ended up not making it, and I was like, okay, well, what do I do now? This is weird. And so my friends took me to some fights my first year of college, and I had no clue what was going on. And there was one girl fight on the card, and after the fight was over, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that. And then I signed up for a gym, started training, and ever since then I've just loved fighting. Here I am now.
Now, who is, and this is just a fun question, don't take it too seriously, but who's the better dancer, you or Valentina Shevchenko?
I would hope I'm a better dancer. I feel like Paige Vanzant would put up a better competition for me with that.
There you go. You know what? I should have said Paige. I completely forgot about Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Now, you've got the nickname Katniss. I take it you're a fan of the Hunger Games, sorry.
Yes, I am.
Now, what did you think of the movies? Yay or nay?
I actually liked the movies. I read, I think, the first couple of books, and then by the third book, I was like, yeah, I'm not reading these anymore, but I enjoyed the movies, so I really did like the movies, not so much the books.
Okay. And again, this is just a little fun side question. I noticed on Twitter you said you didn't like Red Sparrow. I haven't seen it. No spoilers, but why not?
Oh, gosh. It's just a handful. There's a lot of like the sexual scenes, rape, incest, a lot of violent stuff, like even more than what I'm comfortable with. And I feel like I'm pretty open-minded about that kind of stuff, but that was just like over the top for me. So I was like, yeah, I don't recommend that to anybody.
Okay. All right. Now, on a more serious note, I kind of want your take on this because it's based off of something that you posted the other day. MMA is honestly one of those sports, in my opinion, where women have made a lot of headway compared to a lot of the major sports. Probably in one of the shortest amounts of time. When you go back to Dana White saying, hey, women are never going to fight in the UFC, and about a year later, Ronda Rousey is the biggest star they've got. And, in comparison to, like, basketball, you got the WNBA. Baseball, I assume they have a league, but it doesn't get much attention. Probably tennis is the only other sport that you see it in. So, obviously, it's a big deal, but we still see stuff like you were on a 50 hottest athletes list the other day that I saw you retweet. Is that kind of attention overwhelming, or does it get you at some point? Or, are you kind of comfortable with it?
I'm pretty comfortable with it. I just think it's funny. I didn't take it seriously at all. I know it's probably I think it was a supplement company that put it on there, probably just made that article to promote, so people clicked on it to promote their supplements. I didn't take it too seriously or anything. I just thought it was a funny little thing, and it doesn't bother me, the attention. It doesn't get to me either way if I'm on the list or if I'm not on the list. It's just kind of neutral. It doesn't waver.
Fair enough. Are you kind of surprised at how quickly things have changed in the sport in terms of the women's side? Because really, it did go from Dana White saying never going to happen to, hey, women a lot of times are a bigger draw than the men now.
Yeah, it was crazy because the year I started was the year Ronda got in the UFC, and I was like, when I did start, I was kind of confused. I was like, well, where do girls go? I was like, what's the highest they can go? Like, if it's not the UFC, and I was like, why am I doing this if I can't go as high as I can? And then Ronda ended up fighting within that year that I started, and I was like, oh, this is sweet. And then I just saw it grow and explode from there, and it's been crazy and pretty awesome, actually.
Absolutely, and it's great to see you getting back in the cage. I'm looking forward to this one. We did a fair amount of coverage, and it's great to get to talk to you because going back to that Brooke Mayo fight, we spoke to Brooke Mayo, and during that press week, you weren't really, the promotion wasn't pushing you. We never saw like a time we could talk to you. So definitely this time around, I think you're going to be a bit more of the focus. Now, I asked this question, and some people love it, some people hate it, but I almost always do. What is your prediction for the fight against Tracy Cortese?
My prediction for the fight. I don't want to say my prediction because I don't want her to know what's going to happen. But I believe I'll be winning in the second round by a stoppage. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go too deep into that.
All right, fair enough. We don't want to give away any secrets. I think we have everything we need. Hey, I want to really thank you for taking the time today. Really appreciate it. When this goes out, we'll tweet it out to you and send you the link as well. And hey, looking forward to the fight. Invicta FC 28, March 24th in Salt Lake City.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a great day.